Hello and welcome back to Fireside Improv. This is chapter 19 of the Karl Franz saga, where Karl Franz just pushed in and took Fort Oberstyre away from Vlad von Carstein. He is now staring down Bernhard von Carstein in Castle Tempelhof. Most of Sylvania has already fallen to the dwarves, who are looking to take a little bit more. They have brought peace and a bit more stability to the people of the Empire, but they are still not Empire themselves, and the control will need to be turned back over to the Emperor eventually. But for now, the people do rejoice at being liberated from the vampiric corruption. A little further west, Theodric is about to attack Vlad von Carstein. Hopefully this will be the battle that takes power of Vlad von Carstein and breaks it once and for all.
Into battle!
Vlad von Carstein, the scourge of the Empire, the would-be emperor who would cover the Empire in darkness and corruption, marches out onto the field knowing that staying in his settlements is a recipe for disaster, as his minion recently found out. Von Carstein is forced to come down from his hills, from those Hellstorm rocket batteries. He does have a large horde. He has a handful of stronger soldiers. He has been raiding the crypts and finding all sorts of dark beasts, both flying and on the ground. Theodric has his work cut out for him to break the power base of Vlad von Carstein.
Ranged weapons ready! Quickly! The Temple of Luminarch! For Heldenhammer! For Garberer! Spearmen! Quick march! Point for our nation! We will kill them all! Kill everything! As long as we draw breath, they will die!
Cairn Wraiths are doing a great job tying up the Empire cavalry, preventing them from sweeping around into the backs of the lines of the undead.
On our way! Sigmar calls! Moving now! Do not trust wizards! Understood! Yes, General? Detachments, move! The ground quakes! Yes, sir, quickly! Taking position! Crossbowmen! No lingering! Take the ground!
The Emperor does maneuver his Hellstorm rocket batteries to a new position to fire on the enemy force, but the center line of the Empire has buckled and broken. Vlad von Carstein was able to punch a hole right through the middle.
Keep your heads down, men! They're casting spells! Look out! Spell! Withdraw! Ulrich's wolves charge with us!
As the Emperor lines collapse, they do try to reform a little bit further back.
Ulrich's teeth! Retreat!
And the Wizard of the Empire has a strange idea that he should try to challenge Vlad von Carstein, which will probably not end well. He does think better of it. Meanwhile, the left flank of the Empire does manage to push back a little bit and get some breathing room. So there is still a chance to turn this around, but Vlad von Carstein has not taken even the slightest wound just yet, and will be a big trouble to try to take down. Vlad von Carstein moves throughout the battlefield looking for his next targets. Everywhere he goes, the Empire does.
Quick! Send Ludwig around the flank! Victory will be ours! Raise your weapons! Sigma! Preserve! Ha! Take that, foe! With a twin-tailed comet! We are Sigma's heirs!
The enemy White King has also fallen. The Empire is doing a great job at picking out the enemy, but they, at the same time, they just cannot stand before Vlad.
For Heldenhammer!
It was an incredibly bloody battle, but the Empire did eventually fall. Vlad von Carstein lives a little bit longer. He is simply too powerful for anyone but perhaps the Emperor to take down. Theodric did survive the battle, so he is still alive and kicking. A lot of his forces also did survive, and Vlad von Carstein is still going strong himself, but his army was severely cut back. Of course, with his mastery over the dead, he may be able to recover that army quite quickly, so Theodric is not out of the woods just yet. He will need to be able to limp home to Grunberg to regain his strength, and perhaps try again if the Emperor decides to push on further and take Castle Tempelhof and down to the Moot and Swartzhaven. A dark, shadowy figure appears at the capital of Altdorf, robed, shrouded, and a feeling of chaos gripping him and corruption. He proclaims that the Lord of the End Times, Archaon Everchosen, has risen up and is going to bring ruin to the Empire and the rest of the world in retribution for slights against him. The Emperor knows that he has to be ready for any potential onslaught, and that he is going to need to make sure that the Empire is whole. But he is Karl Franz, Emperor. If he can make the Empire whole, he has no doubt that he will be able to withstand any assaults that will come from without. Vlad von Carstein was able to recover some of his forces quite quickly, so Thadric is indeed going to pull back to friendly
On march!
territory in order to recover some of his forces. Before trying again. However, Belegar Ironhammer is marching again from Averheim towards Flensburg. It does appear to be intent on taking that settlement and defeating Vlad von Carstein. In his weakened state, they might just have the ability to do so. In the meantime, Emperor Karl
By the
Franz
comet.
is going to start
Raise
sieging
your weapons!
Castle Tempelhof.
Men, we must attack!
And call in his good friend Ralph Koch to support
the
him.
Heldenhammer.
They are marching through dead lands. Unnatural, evil magics and creatures are roaming them. With the disregard for safety and pushing on to meet the Emperor outside the walls of Castle Tempelhof, Ralph Koch's army is having its soldiers get gripped by disease and stolen away in the middle of the night by unspeakable creatures, both living and dead. But the Emperor and Ralph agree that purging Castle Tempelhof is the way to bring more stability to the region and purge those creatures. So despite the casualties that they will take by this action, in the grand scheme of things, it is a risk that must be taken. Over in Ubersreich, a great inn is going to be constructed. It's going to be a grand place where all will be welcome to come and rest. The Emperor hopes it will be a sign that the Emperor and the Empire is on its way up and is a beacon of light and stability in the world. Vlad von Carstein sensed his doom and did abandon the settlement of Flensburg, giving it up to the dwarves that have continued to march forward. And he is getting word that the Emperor is attacking his last strongholds of Castle Tempelhof. The Emperor watches his great siege towers and his Hellstorm rocket batteries assault the undead force that has taken refuge in the city of Tempelhof. Bernhard von Carstein is going to fall this day, and the power base of Sylvania will be completely shattered. The Emperor marches forward with his forces under the fire of the Hellstorm rocket batteries. He decides not to wait for the reinforcements. They can join the battle as they arrive. The Emperor's forces does stream onto the wall to battle the skeletons. They have clumsy strikes and are no match for the cold, hard steel of the Emperor. And much of the walls have already been abandoned by the undead, and so the soldiers are able to easily make their way and capture the walls and open the path forward. The onslaught of the Hellstorm rocket batteries are relentless and devastating to the defensive force. They are losing a lot of their soldiers before they're ever able to join the battle. Ralph Koch's reinforcements have arrived and are marching to a new segment that is undefended, with hopes that they will be able to easily flank around and come in. The bigger question, though, is will they even be needed, or will the battle be won before they are ever arriving?
This is my command! All weapons are yours! Charge! Formation, march! On way! The ground quakes! Moving now! Fire! Fire! Sterling's revenge! For Heldenhammer! For the twin-tailed comet! Ready for war! Of the Empire! Very well! Don't let Hellstorm!
Bernhard does move to counter the flanking action of Ralph, leaving the attack of the Emperor to have a little less resistance than it otherwise would have. He should be able to break through quickly now that these forces are caught up on this flank. With the Emperor tying up the enemy hex wraiths brought from the crypts, he orders his wizard to rain down a comet. Does not do as much as he had hoped, but damage was still sustained. Bernhard von Carstein himself finally takes to the fields and immediately runs away to deal with a new threat, or the same threats. He just wanted to fly around a little bit on his pretty dead horse. Isabella von Carstein chases Ralph Koch out of the city, but in doing so, runs right outside the walls, where she gets caught and bogged down by Emperor soldiers. Ralph Koch laughs as he turns around with his glowing warhammers to defeat the Lady of Sylvania, who fell for his feigned retreat and is now caught.
Subjects call! Moving now!
Isabella does fall. What Vlad von Carstein will think of when he learns of his love's defeat beneath the walls of Castle Tempelhof is unknown, but he does not have the power base to do much unless he takes out personal revenge against the Arch-Elector. With the Castle of Tempelhof taken, Empire soldiers stream through the streets, finding loot and treasure that the vampire lords have collected over time. The Emperor lets them keep what they can find for their own as a reward for their hard-fought and valiant efforts on the field to get them this far. The Emperor finds the storeroom and takes that back to Altdorf. And ultimately, the castle has been reclaimed for the Empire.